The short punt formation was one of the earliest football formations in history. Invented in 1896, credited to Amos Alonzo Stagg, the short punt formation is amazing because it was used for decades alongside other offensive formations, such as the single wing, double wing, and wing T. But unlike those formations, the short punt formation has been completely forgotten. It's most famous for being used by fielding Yost and his hurry-up teams, which obliterated everyone they played in the years from 1902 to 1905. Check out our video on that subject. So, what is the short punt formation? This diagram shows the formation as taken from the book Football by the United States Naval Institute, published in 1943. The Navy had many physical training manuals, from hand-to-hand combat, wrestling, basketball, labor engineering, whatever that is, to military track. It's called the short punt formation because the quarterback, or punter, is only 5 yards deep, compared to a regular punting formation where the punter is 15 yards deep. In the early days of football, punting was a regular occurrence. Teams punted 20 to maybe up to 40 times a game, with the strategy of gaining field position. Their goal was to punt, gain yardage, then try to make the other team fumble or lose yardage. Much like the single wing, the short punt formation offered the triple threat of punt, pass, or run. Here's a look at the single wing formation taken from the Navy book. Notice the unbalanced line in the single wing, and also that the quarterback isn't protected very well on the short side should the team choose to pass. Looking at the short punt again, note that the quarterback has backs on both sides and the line is balanced. The single wing was considered better for running, the short punt better for throwing. When I first started researching this formation for our series on the history of football offense, I thought the short punt formation was used only up until the emergence of the single wing as invented by Pop Warner. There isn't an exact date as to when Warner invented the single wing. Some say it was early as in 1908, but others put it much later, some as late as the 1920s. Turns out the short punt formation was used for many decades. A search on newspapers.com for the term short punt formation yields 18,208 results from 1897 all the way up to 2020, although many later articles are about its history. Dana X. Bible, a coach worthy of his own video, included diagrams of short punt formation plays in his book Championship Football, published in 1947. In an issue of Scholastic Coach from May 25, 1956, in an article called A Short Punt Run Like a T by Lou Howard, who was the coach at Amityville, New York High School, it states, though the short punt is considered one of football's forgotten formations, Amityville has been getting the maximum mileage out of it for the past 3 years. In that time, we've won 19 out of 22 games, either sharing or winning our conference crown each season. And he goes on to talk about how he's taken the short punt formation and changed it a little bit so that it's more. It's the short punt formation, but it's being run like the T formation. In the book The Pro Football Mystique, published in 1978 by author Dave Klein, we see another reference to the short punt formation. In 1961, the San Francisco 49ers of the NFL scrapped the T formation offense, the holy grail of pro football, and in its place installed a short punt formation. This was called the Zephyr offense by the head coach, a man of great vision named Red Hickey. That is not an affliction, it is a name. Coaches around the league panicked. There was the quarterback, 7 yards deep into the backfield, not immediately behind the center with his hands resting on the other scrotum, awaiting the direct handoff, but accepting a short snap that appeared magically from under the center's upraised tushy. Hickey's Zephyr rolled along, gathering steam and ebullience and new victims each week. The season opened with a victory over Washington 30-3. Then came Detroit 49-0, Los Angeles 35-0, and Minnesota 38-0. The league was in turmoil. The most incisive minds in all the coaching staff stayed up night after night viewing film and studying scouting reports and doodling how to stop this Zephyr. What secrets can be learned? What defense can create it or improvise to unlock the mysteries of the Zephyr? The Chicago Bears were up next. They gritted their teeth and admitted to being frightened and intimidated. They despaired of retaining even their pride in the face of such a monstrous onslaught. They even trembled a bit for the photographers. And then, on a crisp Sunday afternoon, they beat the crap out of the Zephyr offense. The score was 31-0. The Zephyr lay there on the turf of Wrigley Field, smoldering in ruins. Hickey and his 49ers were destroyed. Canny old George Halas, who was the founder of the NFL, the owner and coach of the Bears, and probably the father of ARG, was besieged with questions as to what miracle he had wrought. What solution had he found to decipher the complexities of the Zephyr? "Bullshit," said canny old George Halas cannily. "I dug out my old playbooks for defense against the single wing. That's all the damn thing was, a single wing offense. Why didn't you jackasses see it all along?" "Because they weren't old enough, canny George." Obviously a lot of snark in that book. Fred Hickey, a name and not an affliction, is credited with inventing the shotgun formation. Granted, it was mostly shelved by Hickey after the Chicago defeat, then resurrected by Tom Landry in the 70s, somebody else in the 80s and in the 90s. And the point is, the shotgun, probably the most used formation in football, has ancient roots. References typically state the shotgun was a hybrid of the single or double wing, but more likely it was the short punt formation with the quarterback 5 yards back that led to today's most used football formation. What's most amazing about the short punt formation is it remained useful considering all the rules changes it lived through. Momentum plays had just been outlawed in 1894, 2 years before its invention. The forward pass was legalized in 1906, but wouldn't really be effective until 1912 when restrictions were removed. Mass play was outlawed. 7 players were required to be on the line of scrimmage. Only 1 player was allowed to be in motion, and the offense was required to come set for a full second before the ball could be put in play. Those are all the changes between its invention and later on when things became modern football. That's a lot of change. And that's the history of the short punt formation, one of the most influential formations you've likely never heard of. I am John Johnston with Hardcore College Football History. If you like this video, please boop the like button and subscribe. And if you liked it a lot, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you.